Hello boys and girls, this is Mr. Benson. Welcome to the first video in my coding series. This is going to be an introduction to Scratch, and thank you for checking it out. The reason why I chose Scratch, it's a website that was created by the Massachusetts Institute of Technology to introduce kids to the concept of coding. Okay, This website's great because it works across all platforms: Mac, PC, desktop, laptop, iPad, Chromebook, Windows tablet. The only device you might have trouble with is with something small like a phone. Okay, so if you can get your hands on any of the previously mentioned devices, you should have no trouble at all following along. All right, step number one is to click on a web browser. It doesn't matter which. I'm going to go ahead and use Google Chrome for this. And in the URL, we're going to navigate to Scratch's site. It's scratch.mit.edu. We'll return. And here's the landing page. Now, you can start creating without creating an account, and that's completely fine. But I would highly recommend that you go ahead and create an account. That way you can save your work. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and click Join Scratch and create an account for my son, just to walk you through this process. Now, the only thing that you'll need, aside from the information that's going to ask us up front here, is an email address. So you might want to ask your parents to help you out with that. All right, so we're going to create a username. It says don't use your real name. That's just for privacy. So we'll try this. Okay, and if your username is taken, it'll let you know you'll have to try something different. That looks to be available. So now I'm going to create a password. Okay, re-enter. And we'll click next here. Don't want to save that. What country do you live in? United States. He was born July 2009. And he is a male. Next. Okay, here's where we are prompted for our email address. Okay, and we're going to go ahead and create an account. Select all images with bridges. All right, great. Get started. Okay, I'm going to go back to the main menu here. Okay, and what we're going to do is we're going to just go ahead and click on this Create button up here, Create. Okay, so here's our workspace on Scratch. We'll take a look at this first. Over here we've got these three tabs, Code, okay, and this is going to give you all of the blocks that we need to build our programs. Okay, and you'll see they're separated in different categories here. We've got motion, looks, sound, events, control. Okay, and we'll be starting with these five here first. These last four are for more advanced coding concepts that we'll get into later. Okay, so we'll just focus on these five for now. We'll notice that we've got a costumes tag. We won't be using this in this first tutorial, but we will be using this sounds tab. Okay, so sounds and code. This is our workspace. This is where we actually drag our code into. Okay, and we'll be looking at that in a second. If we ever have code that we don't want, we go ahead and just move it back over here. It'll disappear from our workspace. Okay. This box here is your output box, meaning this is what the user is going to see of your program. Okay, if you were playing a video game, this is what would be on your television screen. Okay, down here we've got our sprite workspace. So this little guy, our character, is called a sprite in Scratch. Okay, and we'll be getting into this in a moment. And we have our stage where we can actually put in backdrops here. And we'll be looking at that today as well. Okay, in today's lesson, we're going to learn how to say something, or make our sprite say something, make our sprite fly around, how to make our sprite go right and left, up and down, how to change costumes, how to glide from here to there, how to make our sprite grow and shrink, how to change backdrops, and how to add our own custom sound. Okay, so let's get started by making our sprite say something. This guy over here. Okay, the very first thing anytime you start your program, you're going to want to go to your events section. Okay, this is how you initialize your code. Okay, and there's different ways to do it. As you can see, it says when our flag is clicked. Our flag is right here. In other words, if we use this, we would click this flag, and whatever code that we put underneath this block, okay, would execute after we click this flag. If we chose this one, let me drag it over. Okay, we have options. We could say when our space bar is pressed, something will happen. When we hit our up arrow, down arrow, right arrow, left arrow, any key, or a specific key, okay, it'll run our code. And as you can see, if you look through this, there are different options. When the sprite's clicked, when the backdrop switches, we won't worry about these for now. Let's just start simple by dragging this one over when our flag is clicked. And we're going to just make it do something simple. We are going to go to looks, and we're going to make it say hello. Okay, and you need to be careful. You need to make sure that these snap together so that they're linked. Okay, so in theory now, when I click this green flag, my sprite will say hello for 2 seconds, which he did. Okay, now we can add our own custom message here by clicking here, and we can change the message here. Let's say, imagine what you can do with Scratch. So now when we click, he'll greet us with the hello, and he'll give us our custom message there. Okay. Now, of course, if you wanted that to last longer, you could change how many seconds that lasts for. Let's say 5. Run it again. Imagine what you can do with Scratch. Okay. Very simple. So now let's look at how we can make our character fly around. I'm going to take this and throw it away. And we're going to go back to Control. And this time let's try, events. And this time let's try this one when something is pressed. And we'll go ahead and just leave it as spacebar. And we're going to add a sound. Make sure the volume's up. And we're going to have him, let's do play. Let's see if we have any other options here, just the meow. Okay, that's fine. Play meow. And then we're going to have him move. So let's go to motion. And we're going to have him glide for 1 second to a random position. Okay, and we'll get into positions in a moment, but let's just see what happens here. Okay, now if I go and press this, nothing's going to happen because I have our initializer set to the space bar. So when space bar is pressed, so let's go ahead and press the space bar. And he meows and moves to a random position. Okay, simple enough. Now this is fun and all, but what would be great is if we could actually control him and move him around the way we want to, right? So let's go ahead and trash this, and let's add some code that will allow us to control him. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and use this again, but this time I'm going to go and assign this to the right arrow. Okay, and then I'm going to go to motion, And I'm going to change X. Okay, so we have an X-axis. Over here you can see the X-axis moves left and right, and the Y-axis moves up and down. Okay, so I'm going to go to change X by 10. Okay, so that means when the right arrow is pressed, X is going to change in a positive direction by 10, meaning this way. Okay, then I can add another one of these. When, let's go left arrow. And these are two separate instructions, so they don't need to be connected. Okay, so when left arrow is pressed, we are going to change X by, okay, in this case, negative 10. Right? It would be the other way, negative 10. Okay, now when I press the right arrow, you'll see my character moves to the right. When I press my left arrow, he moves to the left. Okay. So now that we've got left and right done, we want to add in up and down. So we do that in the same way. We go and click when, this time up arrow is pressed. Go back to motion. Our Y-axis change Y by 10. And when our down arrow is pressed, we're going to change our Y-axis by, you guessed it, negative 10. Negative. Okay, so now we should be able to move right, left, up, and down. Okay, now that's great and all, but maybe we can spruce this up a little bit by putting a background in. So if we go over here to backdrops, okay, I'm going to go ahead and choose a backdrop right here. And we have a lot of different backdrops to choose from. You can scroll down. Right now I'm on all, so I'm seeing everything that's available. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and choose, just for now, I'll just choose this baseball field. All right, and there's my cat on a baseball field. All right, great. We'll put him on the pitcher's mound, just like that. Okay, so let's look at changing costumes. Okay, what this actually means is you're going to animate your sprite, okay, when you click it or whatever you tell it to do. All right, so let's go to, let's go back to events. And let's look at another way we can initiate our code. We'll try this time when this sprite is clicked. Okay, we'll move this over here, and we're going to go to looks, and we'll switch costume to costume 2. It's over. Okay, and then we're going to add a control block here. We're going to tell it to wait for a certain amount of seconds before switching back. And you'll see what this all does in 1 second here. Move this over. And actually, well, we'll just leave it. And then we'll go to switch to costume. Back to 1. And then we'll go ahead and tell it to wait. Okay, so let's see what we've done here. Now to initiate this, we've got to click our sprite, right? So let's click it and see what happens. And as you can see, so costume number 2 is actually just our cat with the legs back, right? So it looks like he's kind of running, or it animates him essentially. Now that was a little slow. To make it look better, maybe we can do 0.2, 0.2, and try it again. There it goes. All right, that's pretty fast. Let's see. 0.4. There we go. All right. That is the basics of changing costume. All right, now we can now we can have something glide from here to there. What we'll do here is let's just clear all this up. I'll start over here. And then before we begin, I'll go ahead and show you how to choose a different sprite if you'd like. Okay, so let's go in here. Let's go ahead and put the trash can on him. And let's choose something else. Scroll down, we'll choose, let's choose the Earth. Okay, and let's choose something that makes more sense than a baseball diamond. I think there's a... There we go, stars. That's good. There we go. Okay, so first thing is to choose a way to initialize. So we're going to go to Events, and we'll go back to our flag. So when the flag is clicked, okay, we're going to do Motion. We're going to tell it to go to a certain point. Let's see, go to, there we go. So now we have values on the X and the Y axis over here, okay? Now we can set this to 0, which should put us somewhere near the middle of the page, right in the center here, okay? And let's just test that out. There it goes, right in the middle, perfect, okay? Now we can tell it to glide to a certain position on our screen, okay? Right now it's set to random position. Actually, I'm going to change this one to this here, where I can actually choose what point on our X and Y axis we want to go to. So let's say negative 180 for our X axis and negative 100 on our Y axis. All right, so when clicked, we float over here to the bottom left of our screen. Okay. If I did it again, it's going to float back to the middle and then glide back here, because our first set of instructions is to go to 0, 0 on the XY axis. Just like so. All right. That is gliding from here to there. Okay, next we're going to learn how to make things grow and shrink. So let's go ahead and get rid of this again. And let's start with a new sprite and a new backdrop. Let's try... Let's see, let's try these drums here. And we'll grab a backdrop that makes more sense. Like a theater, just like so. Okay, let's put this guy down here. And let's do this. Let's go and grab a control. We need to start our program somehow. So, oh, sorry, event. All right, let's go back to when this sprite is clicked. And then we're going to go to, under control, we have what are called loops. Okay, and we'll get more into loops and how to use them in later video. But for now, we'll just grab this repeat. And what this basically means is that anything that goes in this repeat block is going to repeat however many times you specify. Okay, so let's shrink this down to 2. And let's go to looks, and we're going to make this grow. Okay, so we're going to set size to, let's go 150%. That means it's going to get 50% bigger than it is now. All right, and then we're going to have it play a sound when it does. So play sound until done. What do we got? What options? We've got let's do this one. Okay, and then after it's done playing the sound, we're going to make it shrink back down. So we'll choose set size to 100%, which means it'll shrink back down to what it looks like now. Okay, let's try and run this. We have repeat twice. All right. And that works. Great. All right, let's take a look at how to change our backdrops. So again, we'll start by throwing this away here. Okay, let's choose a new sprite. Let's just grab Avery here. And we are going to, let's go over here. Let's start this here by going to events. When our flag is clicked, we're going to go to looks, and we're going to switch our backdrop to, let's choose a new backdrop here. Let's choose the Savannah. Okay, and then we will tell it to wait 2 seconds. And then after 2 seconds, we'll have it switch to something else. Let's see. Switch backdrop to, let's choose something opposite of a Savannah. Let's see here. Metropolis. Okay, so switch to Metro. And then let's go ahead, for fun, let's make her say something. Let us explore. Okay, so let's go ahead and run our program here. Let's move her down here. There we go. All right, let's run and see what happens. So we switched to the Savannah, it's waited 2 seconds, switched to Metro, and she gave us our message, let's explore. We'll run that one more time. There we go. All right, that's how we change backgrounds. And next we'll look at how to add sound. So let's start this over here. We'll just choose a new character and a new backdrop. choose this guy. He looks fun. Okay, and let's go ahead and there we go. Let's put him in the beach in Malibu. All right. Okay, now what we can do is we can go to sounds, and we have this sound here. It's already recorded. I think that goes with the sprite, but we can also add our own sound. If we wanted to say something like, let's say, let's see, let's click on this microphone. It says record here, and we'll say something simple like, oh, we need to allow our microphone. Okay, now we can record here. Hello, friends. Go ahead and press stop. We'll save it. And we'll go back to our code. Okay, and we'll start the event by clicking on our flag. Okay, we'll go to sound, and we'll start our recording. Start recording. And then we'll go to looks. And we'll have him say, hello, friends. Just like that. All right, let's see what happens here. Oh, you know what we can do too? We can make him move by changing his costume. Let's do that. We'll just do next costume. Okay, so what should happen here when we click, we should hear the recording I just recorded. He'll do something else in his next costume. Remember, the costumes are like animations. And then he'll say our message here, hello, friends. Hello, friends. All right. Hello, friends. And that worked. Perfect. Okay. We'll stop there for today. That's enough for you guys to explore some of these different block categories. Okay, we've learned how to change our sprites, change our backdrops, and use these blocks to make our characters do different things. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed. Have fun with Scratch, boys and girls, and until next time, we'll see you soon.